Hello, Idaho. I'm Mariel Hemingway, and today we're at the Warhawk Museum in Napa, Idaho, and we're talking about veterans' health. My father went to World War II, but my grandfather, Ernest Hemingway, he went to Italy before World War I, and basically he was driving an ambulance for some of the soldiers, and he did get hit. And then my father was jumping out of planes in World War II, and the funny thing about the story is that he was jumping out of planes with his fly rod because he was a big fly fisherman. And if anybody in Idaho knows him or knew about him, they knew he loved to fly fish. But he was almost caught by Nazis and put in a prisoner of war camp. So anyway, my dad's story is very impactful, but both of them were affected by what happened to them in the war. I mean, I think you can't go to war on any level, no matter what war it is, and not be impacted by losing friends, losing people, seeing death. You know, it's intense and it affects you. And it also was a time when people didn't talk about that.
Better today than it was as a care provider 30 years ago. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I got to say, I've definitely seen a huge shift in how the active duty handles mental health issues. Because, like, when I started in infantry, I mean, it was totally you call like a type A personality environment.
High speed, low drag.
High speed, never admit weakness. And if you did admit weakness, I mean, it's like chumming sharks, because they're gonna be all over you. And at that time, if you came up with like a mental health issue, I mean, any mental health issue, they would mark you as, unsat, chapter,
Yep.
discharge, because they didn't have the mechanisms to deal with it. It's changed, especially I saw a great deal of change going through my deployments from 2001 up to 2007. I mean, there were still some problems, even up to like 2005. There was a lot of talk in the active duty side. It's not really, PTSD is not really a thing.
All right.
And it was still being discouraged. And there was still a lot of that persistent attitude of, well, if you get marked as crazy on your jacket, you're done.
Yeah.
And I saw that with people coming out of, deployments, because they do a post-deployment health screening. And pretty much, like, if anybody marked a yes for anything, they got held at the cycle.
The out processing.
Yeah, processing. And then they couldn't go home.
Right.
So guys learn pretty quick, I want to go home.
Kind of a disincentive, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they've made great change. People now are actually getting treatment while still in active duty. The downside is, I still think some of that old culture still kind of rolls over.
Yeah.
I've met quite a few vets who, multiple deployments, 2-3 deployments, they come back, they don't have those avenues to get the treatment they need. They start, partaking in like dangerous behavior, substance abuse. Then all of a sudden they find themselves on like a, dishonorable discharge, a general discharge.
Article 15.
Article 15s, court martials, which is sad, because what they really need is that treatment. Now, the good thing, my experience here with the Boise VA, they do a really good job of identifying people coming out.
Yeah.
They have a really good mental health team, behavioral health team, really good inpatient and outpatient services. So I think as the culture changes, and I think more veterans are becoming more comfortable with coming forward and saying, I'm feeling kind of messed up. I don't know what I need, but I need something.
Right. Can you help?
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have the ability to tell those stories, to talk about them. We can talk to veterans so that they can unravel the story and let go of the trauma.
Really liked being out in the community so much. That's why I got involved with Wyakin.
Yeah.
Being a nonprofit. I did all my clinical internships here at the VA hospital, so I got to see the hospital side of it.
Exactly.
Not only as a patient, but also as the clinical side.
Yeah.
And I just really like the freedom of getting out in the community that the nonprofit gives me, and being able to interact with so many veterans.
Yep.
Because it's one of those things I feel, you know, you got to meet them where they're at.
Exactly.
You know, it's hard to get them to show up, but if you can get them out there in the wild and kind of draw them in.
Yeah, and putting a face on an agency or an organization like Wyakin that says, I can relate to where you were or where you are, maybe it affords them an easier opportunity to reach out to you as not just a clinician, but as somebody who's gone through the experience.
Well, I could definitely say, from what I've experienced going through my transition, my recovery, you know, my healing, it's easier to build that rapport with people that are kind of stuck in that crisis side. Because I can honestly tell them, I've been where you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
And much worse. There's a way out.
If you want to learn more about like how to help veterans and their families, or you're just a regular person and you need help with your mental and behavioral health, go to OptumIdaho.com and we have resources and things for you to do.